77 WABC and Bergen Newbridge Medical Center honor the life of legendary broadcaster and our friend, Ernie Anastas.
Hi, it's Ernie Anastas. You know, your thoughts can affect how you feel. Bergen Newbridge Medical Center is the largest hospital in New Jersey, providing comprehensive, equitable, compassionate, and high-quality emergency inpatient and outpatient medical care, plus mental health services and substance use disorder treatment. The Bergen Newbridge team can address your total health needs in one convenient location. Call 201-225-7130 for an appointment or newbridgehealth.org.
Sherrod DeVoe, will Golden Tempo race this weekend?
He will not. He will not be entered in the Preakness.
And does it come down to what you talked about with me just 2 days after and on Fox News this weekend, that the horse is just used to running longer distances right now, or is the horse tired? What is the main reason why he's not going to run this weekend?
It's a culmination of both. Ultimately, what we decided, in chatting with the team, the Phipps and Vinny's team, is we're looking for a campaign for the whole year, and trying to squeeze a race in 2 weeks just wouldn't be right for him to have the bigger goal in mind. We're pointing to the Belmont, then we're pointing to the Travers, and then after the Travers, we'll reevaluate to see, if we're going to go into the Breeders' Cup Classic. So it's one or the other usually, in my opinion. Asking a horse to run back in 2 weeks and then back in 3 weeks, it's a tough task. And I'm not saying I love history, and I'm not saying change the Triple Crown, but I'm saying it takes a super unique and special horse to be able to do it. And I'm not saying that Golden Tempo isn't isn't a high caliber great horse, but I'm just saying coming back in 2 weeks just isn't necessarily the best for him.
Golden Tempo is owned by one of my best friends, Vinny Viola, who also owns the Florida Panthers. But you heard Sherry there talk about, 2 weeks is not a lot of time. He went on to talk about really how amazing horses like Seattle Slew and Secretariat Affirmed and the last two, Justify and American Pharaoh, are to win 3 of those races in 7 weeks. But she did talk about, as much as she loves this sport, that maybe they should consider giving these horses a little more time in between these races. Because now, as it turns out, I don't blame Vinny or Cherie, but there'll be no Triple Crown winner this year. That's it. It's dead. And the Saratoga, the Belmont's going to be a big deal. It's in Saratoga. It's going to be a huge deal. And New York is going to go nuts, probably 150,000 large, but there'll be no Triple Crown winner again. Let me talk to the best horse racing guy in the world. I really believe that, especially since Hank Goldberg died. My good buddy, Dick Jerardi. He's back for every major race. Dick, good morning, buddy. How are you?
I'm good, Sid. How about you?
I'm great. Now, you heard Cherie. We got her on the show twice, 2 days after she won the Derby, and just today about tomorrow's Preakness. And she said, look, my horse can't do it. 2 weeks later. And he's also used to running long distances. This is a shorter race. But she did think the time, a couple of weeks in between races, is an issue.
Yeah, look, I think Cherie reflects the modern way people look at the top-class thoroughbreds. Sid, they just don't run that much in 2 weeks and then back in 3 weeks for the Belmont, except during the Triple Crown. It just doesn't happen. That's why we've had 3 of the last 5 Derby winners not run in the Preakness. So I think we got to look at the schedule. The Preakness should move 4 weeks back from the Derby, and then the Belmont 4 weeks back from that. Now, that will require cooperation among the racetracks, which doesn't always happen. But, yeah, that's what we need to do to reflect the way people look at horses these days. And, look, Cherie was extremely impressive in what she did. It was awesome, and I understand everything she's talking about her horse. She knows her horse better than anyone. I'm sure they'd love to be there, but they're trying to do what's best for their horse, and it makes sense.
Vinny loves his horses. A couple of years ago, we had the favorite Forte. Forte went for a walk Kentucky Derby morning, stepped on a pebble, and he said, nope, he's not going. People said, what are you talking about? You're the favorite. Nope. So Vinny and Teresa down there at St. Elias Stables in Florida, they really love their horses. They care about the animals first. Forgetting about what I think, Dick, or you, or Cherie, there's much more at stake here because the contract, the TV contract for the Preakness is up this year. And I know both NBC and Fox have it, or they're vying for it. And if you don't have a Kentucky Derby winner running in the Preakness, like you said, has been the case 3 of the last 5 years, you can pretty much guarantee yourself that the ratings are going to be down, right? They're going to be down. It's kind of like in the NBA games. You know, when the coaches at the end of the year, Popovich and Kerr, decide to bench their starters because they're getting tired. So forget about what we think. This is big money. TV contracts have to worry about this.
Correct, and I think that's why it's going to change next year. Because, look, as you said, Sid, NBC and Fox both want the Preakness, but they don't want the Preakness without the Derby winner, right? It's just not worth it.
Well, how much do you know, Dick? I'm just curious. Yeah. I'm fascinated by this. When there is no Derby winner running, do you know how much percentage-wise those numbers are down?
I don't know the exact number, but it's substantial. And keep in mind that Derby on NBC had 20 million viewers. It was a gigantic number, one of the biggest, like in modern times, for any horse race. So you want to have that momentum, right, going into Maryland in 2 weeks, and they just don't have it. So NBC's, look, they're in the world of like producing shows, producing something that people can follow. Well, you can't follow it if the star of the original show doesn't show up for the second act.
Right.
So, yeah, absolutely, whoever gets the Preakness is going to absolutely demand that they move the date back. Hopefully 4 weeks. I don't think 3 weeks is enough, Sid, again, for modern thoroughbreds. So hopefully maybe the first Saturday in June and then the first Saturday in July at the new Belmont Park, which will be around for the Belmont Stakes in 2027.
I mean, look, let's be honest. The Travers is great and the Breeders' Cup is great, but, you know, and they're big races. But the world only cares about these 3. You get a nice audience for the others, don't get me wrong. These 3. So stretch it out. Make it last a little longer. It's going to be better, actually, because there'll be more Dick Jerardi interviews and Cherie interviews and Bob Baffert interviews and Vinny. I think it does make sense on a whole bunch of ends, including the health of the horses. And you mentioned the fact that the Belmont will be run at Saratoga this year till next year. Same thing with tomorrow's race. Not at Pimlico, about 25 miles away. I think they also go back to the regular track next year. Is that right?
That's the plan. Yeah, Pimlico is similar to Belmont Park, is under reconstruction at this point. They tore the old track down after last year's Preakness. So, yeah, Laurel Parker, for the people that don't know the geography in Maryland, Sid, as you said, it's 25 miles south, about 10 miles north of Washington, D.C. That's where Laurel, Maryland is.
Oh, that's not too far. Okay, well, not only is Golden Tempo not running, there's going to be 3 horses from the 18-horse Derby. 3 horses are running, a bunch are not running. O'Selly, which had a very nice finish, shocked everybody with that show finish, is running in this race. But even the horse that came in second in the Derby, that horse is Renegade. That horse is not running either. So some of the more recognizable names from the Kentucky Derby, along with the winner, not even racing tomorrow.
Yeah, they're not. They're waiting for the Belmont Stakes. The horses have already gone up to Saratoga to get ready for it. Todd Pletcher, of course, trades Renegade, who was just second, and he has a stable up there and has for years. Incredibolt is finished 6th in the Derby, 4 lengths back. He's actually, at the moment, Sid, the 4-1 favorite at Bet Online. O'Selly's 23-4. He's the horse, as you said. He was 70-1, actually took the lead in the stretch. He's yet to win a race. And the third horse coming back from the Derby is Robusta. He's 25-1. But, yeah, 14-horse field, complicated race, similar to the Derby, but without the same kind of overall form that we had in Kentucky. I think we had a better line on the horses coming into Kentucky, frankly, than we did coming into Maryland.
All right, fair enough. Well, Dick, you do a great job picking the horses on this show, and you got a huge audience. I'm telling you, a huge audience right now. They want to know the 3 horses, and you can pick them in any order you want that are going to finish top 3 in tomorrow's Preakness Stakes. Dick Jerardi, who do we like?
Yeah, I do not have as much confidence, Sid, for your audience as I did in Kentucky. I still think I had the best horse. Unfortunately, my horse got injured in the race. He took the lead in the stretch, but everybody knows that story. Iron Honor, the 9 for Chad Brown and Flavien Prat. The 7, I know you'll love this name, The Hell We Did. And the 2, O'Selly, in that order. So 9, 7, 2. And I'm going to give you a prop bet that I'm extremely confident in at Bet Online. Over under 155 for the time, mile and 3/16. Sid, we're going over. This will be over 155. You can bet that with confidence.
And why is that? Is that because there's a lot of speed, but these horses is going to be a sloppy track tomorrow? Why is that?
It's a slower group of horses. The Beyer speed figure in the Derby was the lowest it's been in history. It was only a 95. Typically, we'll have like 105. And the surface at Laurel, in contrast to the surface at Churchill Downs, which was extremely fast heading into Derby week, is pretty slow. So you combine all that, I think we're going over 155.
Over 155 and 972, and you can place all your bets. Trust me, you'll be happy. BetOnline.ag. BetOnline.ag. I like Jimmy Shapiro, but he's really at a home run with you, Dick. We've been doing this. You and I have been doing this a long time. I don't realize it. A long time. And you're really great every race. We'll talk again before the Belmont in a couple of weeks. Enjoy the racing, pal. Thank you.
Sounds good. Look forward to it, Sid. Thanks.
Bye-bye, Dick. You got it, pal. Dick Jerardi right there, back on Sid and Friends in the morning. Once again, he likes the 9 tomorrow in the Preakness Stakes. It's the name of that horse, so I have it, Iron Honor. Then he likes the 7, The Hell We Did. And then he likes the 2 horse, which is Oselli, which just happened to finish in the show position in the Derby, going off at 23-4. And then he likes the over 1 minute and 55 seconds for the total time of the race. You can bet all these at betonline.ag.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?